Assalamu alaikum and very good afternoon and Ramadan Mubarak. Within 2 to 3 minutes, we will start our conversation about Islamic banking and finance in view of recent COVID-19. We are waiting for some participants and then we have to begin. जी मैम क्या चीज़ है उसमें तो वो चल रहा है लेकिन ये ओके मैं स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ नाबदू नसल्ली अला रसूलिल करीम अम्मा बाद फ़ौज़ बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. First of all, I would like to thanks to SER to give me opportunity to discuss about Islamic finance in the development of Islamic finance in view of recent COVID-19. As you know, that Islamic finance is an ideal alternative for banking and finance not only for the Muslim countries but as well as non-Muslim countries. Before go to the impact of Islamic finance and as well as the impact of Islamic financial product in the lives of the people, let we discuss about the recent development of Islamic banking and finance. Before to start, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Zubair Mughal. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Al-Huda Center for Islamic Banking and Economics. We are working for the development of Islamic banking and finance from last 15 years. We are working in Asia, Africa, Middle East, Central Asia, Europe, America and other part of the countries. In Azerbaijan, we are exclusively working with SER from last 6-7 years to share our knowledge about Islamic banking and finance in Azerbaijan. And I am thankful to Brother Ruslan to have this opportunity to work together to introduce the latest development of Islamic banking and finance in your country. As concerned about Islamic finance, you probably know that the total size of Islamic banking and finance is about $2.6 trillion. In $2.6 trillion, we can say we can categorize it into 6-7 components. The total size of Islamic finance is $2.6 trillion. Among them, about 80% belong to the Islamic banking, and around 11% belong to the sukuk and Islamic capital market. 2% belong to the takaful, and then about 3% belong to the Islamic indices, Islamic fund, Islamic leasing, which is ijara, and then 1% belong to the Islamic microfinance. So within Islamic finance, we have almost 6-7 components. Number one, Islamic banking, then sukuk, then takaful, then Islamic capital market, Islamic indices, and then Islamic microfinance. And we can say that we have evidence that in 102 countries where Islamic banking is working, most of them are Islamic, and then the countries where Muslims population is in minorities. The major markets for Islamic banking and finance is the Middle East, then Pakistan, Turkey, Malaysia, Indonesia, and now Africa is emerging for Islamic banking and finance. If we see the geographical spread of Islamic banking and finance, in concern about Islamic banking, almost 450 Islamic banks are working around the world. We have evidence of Islamic banking in Asia, definitely, which are the major markets. Then similarly in Africa, Nigeria is very good emerging. In North Africa, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco is advancing toward Islamic banking. In East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, and now Uganda, those countries are emerging. As per concern about CIS countries, especially in Central Asia, Kazakhstan have a very good experience of Islamic banking. They started Islamic banking about 10 years back. Right now they have 2 Islamic banks. They have a couple of Islamic microfinance institutions. They are trying to have a takaful company. Similarly, in Tajikistan, recently they have one full-fledged Islamic bank with the name of Tawheed Bank. Then couple of other banks and microfinance institutions are doing Islamic microfinance in Central Asia. If you see in Azerbaijan also have a very good statistics for Islamic finance. Couple of state-owned bank also had experience of Islamic banking, and recently some banks have a window operations. You have dedicated Ijara company, Islamic leasing company in Azerbaijan as well. So in short, Islamic banking is everywhere. Only in US, every year we organize couple of conferences and workshop in US, in Washington, in New York, in San Francisco. Only in US right now they have about 51 Islamic financial institutions along with 2 Islamic banks as well. Anyhow, so these are the some global overview of Islamic banking and finance. And if we see the major product of Islamic finance, definitely they are Islamic banking, sukuk, takaful, and etc. As per concern about the recent pandemic, which is almost every country in the world is affected in this pandemic, and I was seeing the CNN today. According to the CNN, about 3.7 million people are affected till today, and about 264,000 people have been died due to COVID-19. And definitely COVID-19 have been changed the scenario of banking and finance industry as well. And unfortunately, Islamic banking will also be affected in this COVID-19. But where Islamic banking will be affected, we have some good things as well, which can be very useful to address COVID-19 disasters. For example, we can utilize sukuk to rescue the disasters of COVID-19. Sukuk can be utilized as a long-term strategy tool to manage the funding from local and international markets to encourage and for the development of the countries who are majorly affected through COVID-19. We can develop our medical infrastructure, we can develop our hospitals, we can develop our businesses, we can develop and revive our airlines, we can develop our port operations, we can develop small businesses by having sukuk or social sukuk. So in coming months, sukuk will get a new shine after COVID-19. I believe many countries, including Azerbaijan will see the benefit of the sukuk structure by having such type of products like sukuk, social sukuk, and etc. And I believe the Islamic microfinance will be again an ideal tool to revive the small businesses, to revive the businesses of the poor people, to revive the lives of the poor. Might be Islamic microfinance institution may raise their funding through micro or social sukuk, or they can raise their funding through government-based organizations, or they can raise their funding from United Nations Development Program or many other multilateral organizations, including Islamic Development Bank. Because in Islamic microfinance, the most of the product are based on asset base. When you have to utilize asset-based product, basically those asset-based product will create a positive impact in the lives of the poor people who are affected through COVID-19. And by the way, Islamic finance is a system that is not a religion. This is a system which can be utilized or operated by Muslim, non-Muslims. So we have to treat Islamic finance for a solution for all. And I believe Islamic finance and Islamic finance, microfinance will help out to revive the lives of the poor, not only in the Muslim countries, but non-Muslim people will also be utilized such type of product which will have a very good effect for social development and for poverty alleviation. And for the immediate solution, we can utilize a zakat concept as an emergency loan, or emergency loan, not a loan, but we can say a grant-based product. Because in zakat, unfortunately, we cannot utilize zakat for Islamic microfinance. Because what is the attribute of zakat? That when you give that zakat to the poor person, you do not have a right to take back. But zakat can be utilized for the operating purposes of any Islamic microfinance institution. So we can utilize zakat as a short-term product to help out the people who are affected in COVID-19. As well as the waqf is another concept of Islamic finance which can be utilized to ensure the lives for ensure the asset, cash, and other things through the waqf concept. So waqf, zakat, Islamic microfinance, sukuk can be utilized in this direction. As per concern about Islamic banking, yes, in Islamic banking we have a very unique product to utilize, which can be utilized in this pandemic. For example, what are the major attribute of Islamic finance are asset-based financing, and there are different studies that whenever we utilize asset for the financing, basically those assets create a positive impact in the lives of the client of the Islamic bank or Islamic microfinance institutions. For example, if I am the poor person, and I have two options. Here is the conventional bank, here is the Islamic bank. For example, if I approach to the conventional bank, they have to deal with me with the cash, but that bank do not have any mechanism to ensure that where that cash will be utilized. But if I will approach to the Islamic bank, they do not give me the cash. Most of their product are based on asset. For example, in ijara, murabah, diminishing musharka. In salam and istisna, yes, might be they give me the cash, but at the end I have to return the asset. So asset is there. So when they will deal with me with the asset, basically that asset create a positive economic impact in my life, because I have to earn something from that asset. if I will earn something from that asset, it means my economic life will be uplifted. So after the pandemic, basically Islamic banking product will create a positive economic impact to revive their businesses, revive their life, and etc. And I believe when we introduce those products as a solution for all, it will be a very good impact. 6 years back, I did one assignment in Azerbaijan to design Islamic financial product for one of my client, and at that time I spent at least 2 months in Azerbaijan, and I traveled to different cities including Kochi, Sabrabad, Misri, many other cities. And what I observed that in Azerbaijan the demand of Islamic financial products are very much high. People were willing to involve in Islamic financial mechanism, but there are some limitations, the regulations and some other funding sources for Islamic financial institutions. Those limitations were the hurdles, but I'm sure no scenario have been changed, and there are a lot of positive vibes in for the development of Islamic banking and finance, and the organization like SER, they are trying their level best to have a very good solution in this direction. One thing which I would like to emphasize, the takaful. After this pandemic, a lot of people came to know that health insurance is a very beneficial thing in their lives. So the takaful companies around the world will be a greater benefiter from this pandemic. So, and apart from the takaful, the fintech, the financial technology, what I believe, the future of Islamic banking will belong to the technology. The banks, the Islamic financial institution, who will have a good financial technology, they will survive in any pandemic. But the financial institution, Islamic banks or Islamic financial institution who do not have or who do not well equipped with the technology, they will face a lot of problems. So financial technology will be emerged during this pandemic, and it will be the dire need of the Islamic bank that they should have a very good infrastructure for technology. And what is my prediction, that within next 15 years, the 50% of bank branches will be closed. The customer will move towards applications or mobile banking or many other ways of the technology. Basically, financial technology is the combination of different components. Sometimes we believe that fintech means financial technology means mobile banking. No. Mobile banking is the one of the component of fintech. Now, fintech means artificial intelligence, robo-advices, cryptocurrencies, and many other instruments. Yes, mobile will be one of the two where those applications will be run, but the financial technology will have a new dimension, and I believe the cryptocurrencies will play a vital role in the future. Right now, unfortunately, we are utilizing the cryptocurrency. I think so. This is a very bad use of blockchain technology, because the cryptocurrency is being utilized by blockchain technology. When we utilize blockchain technology, then our Islamic banking transaction will be very easier. For example, in UAE, one of the bank, Immediate Islamic Bank, they introduced their check clearance system through blockchain. Whenever any client submit their check to clear, then they utilize blockchain to validate it. So blockchain, yes, blockchain will play a vital role, and during this pandemic, the Islamic banks or Islamic financial institutions who are already utilizing such type of technologies, they are in the greater benefit in this scenario. According to my prediction that as you people know, most of the Islamic banks belong to the Gulf, belong to the Middle East, and in last 1.5 months the prices of oils are sharply declined, and most of the Islamic bank have a cross investment in oil industry as well. So there would be the two hits in Islamic finance industry. Number one, due to the pandemic COVID-19, and the second hit might be due to the instability in the oil prices in the regions. And I think so Islamic financial industry will be recorded at the minus 10% growth in next 2 to 3 years, unfortunately. And while the banking industry globally have a higher than to the Islamic banking industry, Islamic banking industry will have some shock observer. We have seen international financial crisis in 2007, in which more than 2,000 financial institutions and banks were hit. And in 2007 financial crisis, we observed that we do not have any evidence that any Islamic financial institution were hit due to that crisis. Why? Because in Islamic finance we have a very good shock observer, which will be utilized in a similar way during that pandemic COVID-19 as well. Number one, in Islamic finance we have a very good risk management system. Number two, the most of the products are asset based. We do not have such mechanism of the derivatives, options, and many other complex products which are being utilized in conventional finance. So that is the beauty of Islamic banking and finance. They have an asset based product which will be another shock observer. And then in Islamic finance we can see that is being recognized as the sustainable system, and this was the similar attribute which were observed during 2007 international financial crisis. So right now we have about more than 2,500 Islamic financial institutions, and I believe we will also have a similar shock observer during that crisis as well. But yes, we have a very good risk management system, but instead of that, I believe, unfortunately, might be I'm wrong, and I wish I will be wrong, that the development of Islamic banking and finance will be at a very loyal pace in next 2 to 3 years. I have a couple of questions over here, and after 5 minutes I will go for the questions. So these were some brief highlights that what would be the future phase of Islamic banking and finance. But what about the future markets after COVID? Yes, the Kaful industry will be emerged with the new shine. Sukuk will be emerged with the new shine, because every country will need a bulk funding for the government infrastructure development, not only at the health sector but as well as for you can say infrastructure, road development, airlines development, because airlines and hospitality industry is largely affected. Similarly in Azerbaijan, yes, Azerbaijan did a lot of things for the development of the tourism. They introduced Asan visa policies, online visas, and visa relaxation. They gave a lot of relaxation to tourism industry. Just due to COVID, this is almost collapsed. So the sukuk not only will be only for the health or infrastructure sector, while the industries like the tourism industry, like the airlines, the ports, the shipping lines, and other industry can be revived through the sukuk. Thank you very much. I have some questions from the participants. There's one question from Kafka's brother Kafka, development of Islamic Muslim. Yes, brother Kafka's. If I am not wrong, there is a mountain range in Azerbaijan with the name of Kafka as well. Anyhow, your question is related to the Islamic banking product and its relation. Brother, what I observe in Azerbaijan, yes, I understand you have a limited regulations for Islamic banking. Apart from that, couple of banks, International Bank of Azerbaijan, and some bank backed by the investor from Bahrain, and many other financial institutions are working. One of the Ijara company backed by ICD is also working in your country. So in your country, yes, the legislation are very limited, but apart from that, you can do Islamic banking in your country. So if you do not have a legislation, it doesn't mean that your bank cannot do Islamic banking. There are limited products which can be operated in your country, including leasing product, which are called Islamic leasing product, the Ijara, which you can do still Murabia as well. But I think so after COVID, your country will definitely come with the product of Sukuk, which is a very good product, and then as well as Islamic microfinance. I heard that in your country you already have some assistance from Islamic Development Bank Jatta for the development of Islamic microfinance or Islamic SMEs. So definitely those type of product will be also emerge in your country after COVID-19. Another question from brother Yamin. Do you think the Islamic economy is developing and working similar to capital? Brother Yamin, basically in Islamic economy, if we compare Islamic economy with socialism or with capitalism, most of the concepts which are in capitalist economy and socialist economy, they are also supported by Islamic economy. So we can say in Islamic economy we have some concept of capitalism and socialism as well. Basically they took those concepts from Islamic economy because Islamic economy was established about 1400 years back, while the capitalist system or the socialism economy came later on. So in Islamic economy we have some unique feature. We believe that our divine decision have been came from God, and basically in Islamic economy we believe on labor, we believe on some extent we believe on the government intervention in the businesses as well. But in Islamic economy we have a unique features, and whenever we talk about Islamic economy have a different pillar. One of the pillar is the halal industry, that whatever we have to produce, it should be according to Sharia or according to the permissibility of Sharia. The second pillar of Islamic economy is the Islamic finance, and as I mentioned, in Islamic finance we have different components. One of the component is Islamic banking, then takaful, then sukuk, then Islamic microfinance, and etc. And then within halal industry they have two components. One, the halal food and halal non-food items. Halal food mean whatever we consume. More than 2,000 industries belong to the halal food. And then non-food industry like halal tourism, like halal logistics, halal cosmetics, halal garments or motors, fashion designing, etc. So these are the different components within the halal economy. Yes, we have a complete economy system within Islamic economy. I have one question from brother Irmar. At a global level, in which countries is Islamic banking legislation developing the most? Very good question. Okay. As per the legislation, we have very good examples from Malaysia, Pakistan, Bahrain, even in Qatar and UAE as well. And basically, when we talk about Islamic finance, there are two major bodies who are controlling the different aspects of Islamic finance, development of Islamic finance, or for the development of legislation of Islamic finance. The number one, IFSB, Islamic Financial Services Board. This is a Kuala Lumpur based organization. That is the organization of the mostly from the central banks. They have been designed the different regulations and different working paper and document for the development of the legislation for Islamic banking. So IFSB, and second is AOFI. AOFI is Manama based organization. AOFI means Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institution, who have been developed hundreds of standards, regulations related to auditing, related to the Sharia, related to the governance standards for Islamic finance. So these are the two bodies, and most of the countries which I mentioned like Malaysia, Pakistan and some Middle Eastern countries, they are complying with those standards, and they have a very good regulatory and legal framework for the development of Islamic banking. In CIS countries, I believe Kazakhstan, Tajikistan have a very good legislation. Although Tajikistan is very new, but in Tajikistan they have experience to convert a full-fledged conventional bank into the Islamic bank. The bank name is Tawheed. 1 year before that was 100% conventional bank. And alhamdulillah, by having a very good regulatory policies of the central bank, now that is transformed from conventional to the Islamic. So in CIS, that is a very good example. And similarly, Kyrgyzstan, where they passed Islamic banking legislation from the parliament about 8 to 9 years back. Yes, they also have a very good legislation. And Russia is also trying to enter into Islamic banking industry, and their central bank also trying to have some legislation. As per concern about Azerbaijan, in Azerbaijan right now you have two separate bodies to regulate financial and banking industry. 4 or 5 years back there was a common body, but no, you have to separate, and I'm sure they are trying very much hard to have a very good regulation for your country. And one after your neighboring country, Turkey, yes, Turkey also trying very hard to have a very good regulation. Right now they have 6 full-fledged Islamic bank in the country. Although Turkey is the late starter for Islamic banking and finance comparatively to the other countries, but they are doing very well as well. And as per concern about another your neighbor country, Iran also claimed that they have 100% Islamic banking system. They also have a very good regulatory framework to support Islamic banking and finance. in the country. And I am sure by having such a wonderful experiences in your neighboring countries, Azerbaijan will also have a very good regulations in near future. As per the comment of brother Murad, inshallah brother, I was expected in Azerbaijan last month, but unfortunately due to the COVID-19 I cannot manage to come, but inshallah ta'ala I will be there very soon. Walaikum assalam brother Zia. Brother Ivan have a one, we as the public association want to some work in the field of Islamic. Yes, brother Rahman, thank you very much to have such a wonderful passion to work for Islamic banking and finance industry. And what I believe that Islamic banking is a very good business as well. The profitability of the Islamic financial institution or Islamic banks are much higher than to the conventional bank and conventional financial institution. Yes, this is a very good business as well. But apart from that, this is a business with very good profit, but with patience. When we believe that we are doing a very good work, and we are doing the work according to the teaching of Islam, then we feel a comfort in our heart. And by having that comfort, we have to work very hard. Yes, one of the limitation for Islamic banking and finance industry is that we have a very limited sources for Islamic banking funding. If you will search one of my article that funding sources for Islamic financial institution, which I wrote 5 years back, in that article, if you write funding sources of Islamic financial institution with my name in the Google, you will find that article. In that article, I highlighted the different funding sources. Number one, you can approach to the multilateral organizations like Islamic Development Bank. Azerbaijan is the member of Islamic Development Bank. Asian Development Bank have a very good program for Islamic finance. Then you can approach European Bank of Reconstruction and Development. They help out some projects related to Islamic finance. Then as well as you will approach the multilateral organization like the World Bank, IMF, UNDP, USAID, GIZ, IFAD, and many other organizations. The organization which I mentioned, I know those organizations have a very good project for Islamic finance, to provide the funding to Islamic financial institutions, to provide the funding to the Islamic microfinance or SME organizations. So these are the couple of organizations. I will share my email address. If you write that question through my email, then I will try to share a list of the organizations who can be approached for Islamic financial development or for the funding. Number one, the multilateral organization. Then you can approach, you can utilize the venture capital, you can utilize the technology through crowdfunding, you can raise the capital, and as well as you can utilize some other product like double tier mudarba, that you have to take the money on the basis of mudarba from the donor agencies or from the funding provided. Utilize that product by providing funding to your clients on the basis of mudarba, muraba or ijara. What is the profit from that funding? You can share that profit on the basis of mudarba to the funder provider as well. So double tier mudarba can be utilized as well to raise the fund. So these were the questions. If you have any other question, you can write. I have one question from brother Waslan. Which country as example of? Uh, Brother, I would like to suggest you the country among the CIS countries, because there are two types of law in the world: the civil law and the other law. Basically, before 1992, all the countries who were in the Russian bloc have a similar law. So I think so if you follow Kazakhstan or Tajikistan for legislation, that would be good. And apart from CIS countries, I think so Turkey will be a good example for Azerbaijan, because Turkey was the late starter but entered into the Islamic banking industry in a very fast pace. So they have a very good policy. Tayyip Erdogan personally advised to their team to have a very good regulatory and legal framework. Therefore, right now they have about 6 Islamic banks, full-fledged Islamic bank who are working over there. They are planning for the scope. They have a couple of the capital companies over there as well. They have a couple of Islamic microfinance institutions as well. And apart from the Turkey, you can take Pakistan or Malaysia as an example as well, that how can they build Islamic banking infrastructure. For example, in Pakistan, we started Islamic banking in 2003, and from 2003 to till now, we have about 6 full-fledged Islamic banks. And most of the banks which are working in Pakistan, most of the Islamic banks, they bring a lot of foreign direct investment in our country, and they created hundreds of thousands jobs in our country. For example, Dubai Islamic Bank, they bring the capital from the Dubai. Then we have the Mizan Bank, they have an investment from Kuwait and some other countries. Then we have Bank Islami, who also have a very good investment from the Dubai-based group. Then we have the Burj Bank. Burj Bank already taken by Al Baraka Bank, by the way. They also bring their investment from ICD, from Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. So I believe when you have a legislation in your country, you will find a lot of foreign direct investment, not only in Islamic banking industry, but for the takaful, for Islamic microfinance, as well as when those international Islamic financial groups came to any country, they do not only bring the investment for the Islamic banking, but they bring the investment for the businesses. They establish different real estate, towers, agriculture, food chains, etc., etc. So yes, you can take the example of Pakistan as well till 2020. From 2003, right now we have a 6 full-fledged bank. About 27 banks have a window operations, and then we have about 4 full-fledged takaful companies. Then about 23 conventional insurance company have a window operation. Then we have a Islamic microfinance bank, and etc. This is due to having a very good legal and regulatory framework. I have one question from Brother Sahir. Walaikum Assalam, Brother Sahir. Which country do you recommend to study in this field? What do you suggest? Is Darul Uloom Karachi's good option? Yes, Brother Sahir, Darul Uloom Karachi is a good option, which will help out you to have an in-depth Sharia knowledge for the different product. And as well as for technical knowledge, I will recommend to have a study visit to State Bank of Pakistan, SCCP, because in Pakistan we have a 2 regulators. State Bank of Pakistan is the regulator for the banks, and Security and Exchange Commission of Pakistan is the regulator for the Kaful, Islamic Fund, for the Mudarbas companies, and for the real estate investment trust, and etc. And I will recommend to have a study visit to NIBAF, IBA. These are the knowledge houses for Islamic banking and finance, and you can have a visit to Al Huda Center for Islamic Banking and Economics in Lahore as well. So yes, Pakistan is a good option. If you want to go Malaysia, then in Malaysia you have to visit Bank Negara, you have to visit to Security Commission, you have to visit to ISRA, you have to visit to INSEEF, then you have to visit the Islamic Banking Association and etc. Pakistan, Malaysia, Turkey, UAE, these are the very good options for the study towards. Any other question, brother? Okay, wonderful. And so I would like to thank to Brother Ruslan to arrange a video talk to the expert of who are working in banking and financial institutions or who are willing to do something for Islamic banking in Azerbaijan. I'm sure my colleague will share my email address to you as well. Let me write for you as well. If you have any other question, you can write me, and I hope so to see you very soon in Azerbaijan as well. Let me write my email address for you. Thank you very much, brother and sister. Jazakallah and Ramadan Mubarak. And I'm sure we are people will be rescue ourselves from COVID-19 very soon. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.